You are listening to the Women in Youth Ministry podcast hosted by me, your CEO, Heather Lee Campbell. Women in Youth Ministry is an organization that seeks to elevate the voices of women in a male-saturated field. Go to womeninyouthministry.com to read our blog, follow us on social media, join our online community, purchase our merch, or support our Patreon. Now, here is Heather and this week's guest. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Women in Youth Ministry podcast. My name is Heather, and today's guest is none other than Samantha Green. Say hello, Samantha.
What is up, y'all? I am so hyped to be back on. I just love our chats. It's very, very cool to just have a conversation with someone who has done ministry a longer amount of time than me.
So sweet. Well, Samantha is the host of the Stuttering Christian podcast and serves full-time in camp ministry as the media director. She is a huge fan of all things Harry Styles, Elvis Presley, and Survivor, and she's hoping that one day she'll get to compete on the show herself, which is a dream. And Samantha and I both love Survivor, and we chat about it all the time. Have you started watching this year's season yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any favorites. Do you have any favorites yet?
I like the guy on the blue team, like the big guy, but I also like the Riz God. He's just dorky and he's just goofy that I'm just like, bro, he is the textbook of how my media staff was this summer and making me feel so old. And yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that I like. There's a girl who, what is her real job? But when she explained how her real job connects to her time on Survivor, it was she's a reporter. And I was she could be really interesting because she's I gather information in my real life. That's going to help me on the show. And I was you're so right. I've never thought about it that way. So I really like her so far. So I'll kind of see where it goes. Now, you may or may not know this about me, but I love a good unhinged icebreaker.
Yes.
So I have a list, 1 to 45. Choose a number.
19.
All right. So bad. Would you rather have a permanent clown nose or clown shoes that squeak every time you take a step?
I would have to go with the clown nose because I hate when my shoes squeak. It drives me insane. And the nose all the way.
Somehow it feels less embarrassing to wear a clown nose than it does to have to walk in front of a room and hear the squeak, 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 squeak. Somehow it feels, that feels more embarrassing. So I totally agree with you. So this season, we are interviewing all of the members of our WIM team, the people who make up our board, our moderators, our conference team, our social media team. And you have served on our team in a few different capacities for the past few years. So I want to give people a chance to get to know you and who you are. So first, can you tell us a little bit about your faith story, what shaped your journey and your call to ministry?
Awesome. So, hi, I'm Samantha. I have always been raised in the church. Shout out to Ovilla United Methodist Church. That is the church where I fell in love with youth ministry, where at first I was the textbook like I'm too cool, but deep down I was like scared to go. And one of my dad's like employees that was like working for him, that too was like youth age, and he asked him saying, hey, can you just like take her to youth? And he did, and I like right then fell in love with just like youth ministry, where it was a big part of my life and just my call. Yet I would run away from that call, because as y'all haven't realized yet, I do stutter, yet I like to think God has blessed me, because at the same time I talk a lot too, so it's a very fun vibe. So I wasn't sure, going back and forth, like I could be a speech therapist. I can like work with kids that talk like me and it won't be scary. Yet when my late grandpa passed, he had cancer, and he was a UMC pastor. He accepted the call very late in his life, and he was and still is a big part of just my walk with Christ, because he shared that at the end of the day, if someone feels seen, then like you are living out the Great Commission. And one of the last few things I said was, well, that I said to him that I got a job at Glen Lake Camp. And those were the last words. And going through grief, I was really mad at God, but my youth pastor and my very first one just like came in and supported me and my family, where I knew that I think that this is the path that I want to go on. And I worked at, well, I went to a Baptist university, which it is a fun vibe. Just being told I had no right to preach, and I'm just like, bro, well, at my church, my pastor says his wife is a better preacher than him. And so make it make sense. But I learned a lot about just my call, that I knew that I was called to lead a youth group. I wanted youth to feel seen, heard, and loved, just like how I was. I wanted to be there, like in every part of their lives, the good, the bad, the not so fun, or the oh my gosh, this is lit for the Lord. Like I wanted to be there, and I worked in 3 churches, yet that is a whole other can of worms that not going to go in much detail in. But to summarize it, I felt this voice, this like whisper. I knew it was God, and God saying, go back to camp.
Mhm.
Like go back, like you love camp. You are like obsessed the good type of obsessed, but you love camp. Like, why aren't you doing that? And I had a chance to, yet God had other plans, which now I'm very, very glad that things did not go my way. God bless that, because I wouldn't be the happiest that I am now. And where within a year, I work at a camp that is a camp I never attended as a kid, never worked as a summer staff, and I am a admin. Like, I was so scared because I'm like, well, I'm so used to like leading groups. I'm used to like preaching, like I'm used to doing all of this, and now my job is behind the scenes. My job is to make sure the website is running smoothly. Like, my job is pictures, videos, all of like social media posts where I found where I can still quote unquote like preach, like share the gospel, but it was a completely different way where I was like, oh, wait, this is so cool. I like this is.
But let's not hold on a second. Let's not undersell that though, because like you're like, I'm just an administrator.
Yeah.
No, Samantha, you are literally combining your history and youth ministry, your passion for camp, and your skill sets and passion for social media and communication. So you're not just an administrator. You're using like, while you were working in churches, while you were doing that, you are also developing your own like brand and passion for social media. So you're not just an administrator. You're literally taking this side hustle you were developing on the side and combining into youth ministry. So let's rephrase that. Sorry, this is Coach Heather coming out a little.
Yes.
Because we're not tolerating just an administrator. No. So tell us, let's reframe it now and tell us about how beautiful and amazing it is to be able to combine this thing you were working with on the side with your main passion, which is youth ministry.
It completely changed my view of just everything, that ministry and preaching isn't just preaching in front of a group of kids, of a group of like church body. Ministry is behind the scenes. Ministry is that one-on-one conversation you have with a guy counselor where he says, hey, podcast, that's my camp name, saying like, hey, I've got this chance to share my story in front of night camp, and I've never done this before. And like, who is Paul? Like, who is Timothy? And I quote, pull out my Bible, like go to the verse, and I like share the gospel, saying, okay, this is like Samantha's translation, ADHD. I encourage you to go and read this. And I like broke it down. I pulled up Bible Project. I said that like, what you are about to do is going to change lives that you have absolutely no clue, and you will never know. But you are living out the Great Commission by taking that leap of faith that it is scarier than crap, and you are doing it. And I always think, oh, like I'm just being me. Like I'm just like doing this because like I'm called to all of this stuff. He invited me saying, "Hey, like, can you stay late to hear me speak?" And I was like, Absolutely,
Mhm.
yes." And I stayed, and he, in front of everyone at night camp, he said, "It's because of podcasts, it's because of Samantha is why I have confidence to
Mm.
share how God has worked in my life." Because the crazy part is, I had the chance to interview him for to be a counselor here. I got a sense that he wasn't telling me the full truth about his walk, which that is completely fine. It is up with him and God. But something in him, I knew it would be so good and it would be so cool. And he then tells me, saying, "Yeah, I John 3:16 isn't my favorite verse. I just pulled it out because it is the verse I remember from Awana. Like, you were asking me all of this stuff about God and faith, and I was like, this camp is a church camp? Like, what?"
Mm.
And we, like, to this day, we are still like really good friends. And he will send me a text saying, "Bro, like, that post that you just did was so good. It was so hilarious." And that is ministry. And it's not being in front of hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
folks. It's that one-on-one conversation.
Yeah. I keep thinking about, I've been like jotting notes, just thinking about like how you said like it was your grandfather, right, who told you that seeing people is fulfilling the Great Commission.
Mhm,
And that's so beautiful. And I know that leads right into the thing that you're passionate about right now in ministry, which is seeing people.
mhm,
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about like you, I think you have a charge for all of us when it comes to seeing, especially the introverts in our youth group, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
Yes, I so going from my, like, youth ministry self, where I was working in a church, I would purposely seek out the ones that are by themselves. I would
Mhm.
purposely, like, seek out the ones that, like, I could sense their parents are just like, "Please take my kid. I need time alone." And the cool part is just asking what they like. 99% of the time, it was Stranger Things. And I was like, I knew everything. And we would just talk and talk and talk and talk. And that is that, like, one on one conversation where they would ask me more stuff about shows that I like. I would not bring up the true crime shows that I watch, but I would bring up shows that I knew they would like. And it led into them wanting to come to youth because Samantha made it like a safe place. To churches ago. This was a couple months before life just went on the spin cycle. I bought fidget toys because I knew my
Sorry, I'm
lovely
like chuckling at the idea of like our life going on a spin cycle. I'm
yes.
like, I've never heard that before. And I just like need a moment to laugh at that. Sorry. Okay, you bought fidget toys.
It is the best way to describe how my life went. It was like a spin cycle, turbo spin cycle.
I
It
think
was
mine went on like a
crazy.
steam clean.
Yes. Yes. Oh man. But
How to
uh
sanitize everything.
yes. Yes. Holy cow, yes. But I bought fidget toys because I knew my lovely junior high boys love to just like fit fidget. Yeah, I am the same way. Like I'm like holding my hands. I'm like trying to sit on my hands because I talk with my hands. And it from what I know, they still use them to this day. And the cool part is leading up to my last Sunday, I sat down with one of my junior high boys and I told him now it's his job to make people feel seen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I challenge you to go introduce yourself to everyone. And it is scary, yes, but the cool part is all of these old farts will think it's the cutest thing ever that you are going up and introducing yourself. And I remember just like watching him and he literally introduced himself to every single person and it is just so cool how reaching out to the ones that are by themselves cuz I was that one. I was that one where I did not want to be at church. I wanted to be in my bed asleep. And I still use that to this day where within my job as a admin, as a media director, I have a lot of like there is a lot of things I do that people don't see, which I actually love. I love it because I want I want it to work well. I really want it to work well. And my first month into this job, I was in charge of taking group pictures of the groups that come out for like team building stuff. And I was so scared walking in because everyone, all of these like staff that work the year round, they've all been raised and going here, not me. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to remind myself that God brought me here for a reason. God wants me here. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember just introducing myself and my like 7th grade self started to kick in, like freaking the frick frack out, like holy cow. And one of the girls that I love her dearly. She made me feel so seen. And I was the quiet one. She invited me to their like year-round parties, their Christmas ornament thing that I am not a part of the year-round thing. I just take pictures, but she said, "You don't just take pictures. You check in with us. Like you say, "Hey, like how are you? Like how was this week? Where did you see God?" And I like my mind is blown every single day because it is a constant reminder just why it is important to seek out the young ones, seek out the ones that have no friends, seek out the ones that are quiet, give them a chance to lead only if they say yes. Like, don't expect a yes, expect no. But if they say yes, it is a joy. Like, let's go.
Well, what I love about this too is like you're in a role as an administrator, and oftentimes, from my experience in church work, our administrators do not always feel seen
Mhm.
in this on the church staff, right?
Oh yeah.
But where you're at, like people are being pastoral to you, they're seeing you, they're seeking you out, they're including you in things. And like I'm just curious for those listening, if there are people as part of the administrative staff where they work who are not being seen right now, because like we tend to, I think, with our administrators, brag on them after they've done something big that was self-serving to us, which drives me nuts. But we don't see their day to day. Like I always thought about at a church that I worked at, the custodial staff. Oh my gosh, we pooped on them every single day of the year. But when they cleaned up after a big rummage sale or a Christmas Eve, then we would like almost like in a gross way thank them,
Yeah.
right? But we didn't treat them well the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it didn't connect for me. And it was like, if we were really thankful for them, like we would have set our room setups to them far in advance if we really appreciated them. We would have followed their rules. We would have helped clean up. We would have like fill in the blanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't always treat our administrators that way. We don't see them. And yet in the role that you're in, you're being pastorally cared for. It also reminded me of when I did congregational ministry. One of my favorite traditions in this larger church that I served in was we did spiritual gifts with our 8th graders every year. We had confirmation 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, we did like spiritual gifts as part of their like youth or Sunday school curriculum. And in May, we would do something called 8th grade takeover month. And we would have the 8th graders lead every aspect of youth ministry that month, which was just my favorite tradition. And we would have 8th graders lead games and greet and preach, of course, as part of our youth time together. And I would always ask for volunteers, but no one would ever really volunteer in the beginning, you know, so I always had to make one-on-one asks. And there's this particular kid, Chase, who I loved. And Chase definitely was neurospicy, and he was kind of a class clown, and he loved attention. And he didn't often have something super intelligent to say, but I could tell he was a leader. And I have always been of the perspective that kids like that are leaders, whether it's used for good or not. And it's our responsibility as youth ministers to see the gifts that they have and use them and help wield them for good. And that's what I wanted to do with Chase. And I remember I reached out to him, asked if he would want to preach. He said yes. And I'm setting up with his parents, you know, time to meet up with him for coffee or for them to come by at the student center and work with him. And while I'm on the phone with his dad's like, Heather, I'm just curious. Why Chase? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's just like, I mean, he's not the most serious kid. He's rowdy. Like, I don't think he always has the most positive influence on people. Why Chase? And I had this opportunity to speak into a parent, all the great things I saw about their kid. And listen, Chase knocked out of the park. And out of years, I think I did 8th grade takeover for like 6 years. Chase's sermon sticks out the most to me, not because it was necessarily the best, but because it was an opportunity for him to be seen in a different way by his peers and also his parents. Yeah. You know, like how cool is that? Okay. So women in youth ministry has been a huge part of your story in ministry. I'm curious if you could just tell us a little bit about the influence that this community has had and why you chose to join our team. You help out with our social media, both year round, but also and especially for the conference as well.
So I found out about this group through Lonnie, simply because I was at Glen Lake
Shout
Camp.
out Lonnie Fancher.
Yes!
The love of my life.
Yes! I was at Glen Lake Camp and I got asked saying, hey, like, can you speak at reflection? And reflection is the last thing before bed. And so it's dark, and somehow I was could be the sleep deprivation, but I was very emotional. I don't remember why I was so scared.
Mm.
I really don't know why, but I remember just filled with so much fear. And I was like trying to seek out my other youth pastor friend that was there, and I see Lonnie, and I'm like almost in tears, and I asked, "Hey, like I know we don't know each other well, but can you pray with me right now, over me and over the words I'm about to say, because I'm scared."
Mm.
Holy cow. And she just spoke truth, just spoke peace through the words that I said. And I did not know her well. I met her that week, and I from then I spoke, and right when I was done, she gives me a like paper that is on my wall in my office here, saying, "Hey, there is a Facebook group called Women in Youth Ministry, and I think this group would be perfect for you, and it would give you so much community." And at first, I was like, "Oh, okay, like yeah, another Facebook group to join. Cool, slay." And I didn't expect the overwhelming amount of just community, especially me being young, like me being bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like a
'Cause
year in.
you joined like when you were 22 or 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't like this group has changed my life in so many ways, especially within the view of younger folks in church work or in ministry as a whole, because every job is a ministry job that isn't under a church. Like you were still doing ministry at your corporate job by just spreading the gospel through the way that you speak. And um my first conference, I remember Bethany mentioning like something, saying like, "You are hilarious, you would be so good."
Shout out Bethany Parker, the other love
Yeah.
of my life.
Yes. And I like at first I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm good with the social media posts. Like I'm silly goofy." And within my second conference, that was when I started to help out with TikTok. And it led into just my well, I okay, I've always had a love for social media, but within this group, this community, and with just my love for all of the YouTubers I watch, I wanted to just build something to still spread the gospel through my posts, through where people feel seen. And within the a couple years time, month is a bit blurry. I've slept a lot since. But I remember our conversation. You called, and I was on the way home from work, and I just like sat it in my car, and we were just like brainstorming of just how I can help with social media. And I would and still will say yes every single time to help in any way I can. If it's teaching someone that knows nothing, or if it's just posting a silly, goofy post, or posting asking, how can we pray for you? Just along those lines, just doing something that brings joy in this crazy town, funky town of a world that we live in. And I I am just so blessed and grateful that you thought of me. Like, you said, "Hey, like, would you be interested in helping to post for the conference?" And I'm just like, "Abso-freaking-lutely. Let's go. Yes." And I have just like I I should have been working at my job, but I had my personal laptop thinking of trends and fun stuff to post, to bring in the excitement for the conference. And everyone I've met at my camp that I work at, when I just hear someone saying, I feel like the call to like preach, to be in ministry, I always direct them to women in youth ministry. I say yes. Like, there is a mixture of everyone. There is senior pastors, there's volunteers, there's youth, kids, young adults, college, whoever. It's a big mixture of everyone, and you can learn from someone who has been in this field for years, and you can learn from someone that has been in this field for a month. Like, it is such a beautiful community where I brought it up to like my interview for my current job that I have, because they asked, so like, what is your experience within social media? And I said, well, I helped plan, post, scheduled out posts for women and youth ministry, and planned and scheduled and post for the conference. I am one of a few folks that post on TikTok where people find out who we are.
Yeah,
And
TikTok is how the Gen Zers know who we are. Yeah, and
oh yes.
Yeah, because like Gen Zers are not on Facebook, but there are a lot of people who are connected to us because of our TikTok. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like I was chatting with someone last week who works at Princeton's Institute for Youth Ministry, and she was talking us up to an organization that I was getting to know, and she was like, if you want to follow them, like nobody does social media like women in youth ministry. She's like, they're so funny. They're so on top of their trends. Like they get it. Like they just get it. And listen, we're not the most consistent in social media because we're all volunteer, including myself.
Yes.
I pay my taxes. I like, and we're all volunteers. We're not the most consistent. But listen, we hit it every time, just about every time. So, that's and I think it comes back to like two things. Like, one, seeing somebody's gifts. So I got to know you, saw you, and was like, oh, like Samantha, like this is where to plug you in. But two, just remembering that it's not just social media. It's not just admin. Like, this plays a role. And again, seeing people is fulfilling the Great Commission, and social media is a way to do that. So our last question, because we've got to wrap up, otherwise people are going to quit listening to us. Our last question is always, we're the Women Youth Ministry podcast. We have all genders listening, but we want to take a moment to speak specifically to women. If you could tell women in ministry one thing, what would it be today?
Lean on the people, the students, volunteers who have a disability. If it is like physical where you can see it, or if it's not, like me, where I stutter, give them a voice, give them a chance, and give them a seat at the table. Because I've met so many people, I've met so many college age kids that have come up to me and said, "Hey, like I want to do what you do, but I'm just 18 or I'm just 16. I want to preach. I want to lead a game. I want to be like Jeff Probst as what you say. I want to do that, but I'm young." Like, give them a chance and give them a voice, because you would be shooketh to the core.
Shooketh to the core.
Yes, on the impact and how much God has used them in a way to glorify Him.
Samantha, where can people find you on social media?
So I, as a Gen Z girly myself, I am on TikTok. It is under stuttering Christian. That is like all of my handles. If you want to become Facebook friends with me, cool. I don't post much besides a photo dump. But
she only used Facebook to lurk in the Women in Youth Ministry Facebook group. Just like half of the people. Yeah. And we'll have all your links in our show notes as well. Yeah, it's a joy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will chat more and in the future, and we'll see everybody on next week's episode. If you enjoyed that podcast, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. You can follow us on Meta, Twitter, and TikTok at Women in YM. If you're a woman, we'd love to have you as part of our Facebook community. Go to womeninyouthministry.com to learn more. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Women in Youth Ministry podcast.